Homes up there on the top.
Yeah.
But then you still have a big echo chamber there between that and the ceiling.
Well, and the parents have become
There's
such,
no
I
insulation
mean,
on
they
your
were always
ceiling.
idiots.
No?
They have become bigger idiots.
Yep, bigger.
And I'm
idiots.
just,
They've got a
I
total
don't know the
misconception of
properties
their
of how
son or
all that
daughter.
works. But the other
Total.
thing is,
Well, so many of them never played
Rick's,
a lick or ever participated.
Rick Hop
in
and
it.
Doris, they
Other
put
ones,
some speakers in
coaches
them,
are
and
idiots
they're
and, you
built-in
know,
speakers.
they've never been to a practice or seen anything and said, you know,
They're living
I
vicariously
said,
through
man,
their
you
child.
penetrated the sound barrier if you're in the
Just
ceiling.
look at all the AAU crap that all them
It's like we're all here and it's time to go. I'd like to call to order the Board of Public Works meeting Tuesday, November 13th, 2018, 7:30 a.m. Roll call, please.
John Vietmeyer,
Here.
Mike Ratatek,
Here.
Brad Mitchell,
Here.
Steve Richardson, Steve Struberg,
Here.
Jeff Moheski, Steve Sullentrop, Jeff Patke.
We could stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone, on this cold day. If you had a chance to review the minutes, we'll take comments, questions, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. Priority items, it's up to you, Kevin.
No priority items, everything is going good. We did spend some time down on Rabbit Trail trying to divert a water issue that we had kind of discussed it a little bit a while back. We have still not found out where the water's coming from, so we're just gonna wait and see if it rears its ugly head somewhere down the road, but we diverted it into a storm drain so that we don't have any icing issues this winter, so
and I can tell you, it is not in the street.
it's not in the street.
That's
Right.
good.
So, so for now, we're
Well, it
gonna
was for
wait.
4 months.
Yeah, it was. We did a lot of hunting, a lot of searching, and we got to the point where it was either do this or just start poking a whole bunch of holes in the ground, and we just didn't want to do that. Would have been breaking concrete out and everything else. So,
And it's a small enough leak that it's probably not detectable with one of those
yeah, we can.
flow detectors.
Yeah, we went around and we listened all the way up to the top of the hill on all the curb stops. We shut water off a fire hydrant, irrigation system. We did everything we could. So,
If Lake Washington goes, then we'll know where the leak came from.
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't want to go
And
there.
with the weather the way it is, it ought to break pretty soon, so.
If it's gonna happen, it's
Just
gonna
kidding,
happen.
John.
Oh, my. Wastewater, everything good at the plant?
Everything's good at the plant. Everything's good out in the field. We've had a couple sewer backup calls, not many. The majority of them are all service laterals. So everything's going good. I haven't gotten any complaints about odor down at the treatment plant. Like I've always said, we'll have some odor down there. We can't help that. But we are still moving forward with an air scrubber. I've got 2 quotes in. It looks like as it sits right now, the scrubber equipment is going to run about $94,000. We have $140 in the budget for it, and we'll do all of the piping and the installation in-house for that. So once that comes through, you guys will see a proposal, and we'll move forward on that. But just waiting for one more. It's kind of hard to find them. A lot of these pieces of equipment are region-specific to sellers, so you can't, you go out and get 3 bids from somebody locally because there's only one local guy that can sell it. That's just this is the way the industry runs. So
Where the street is torn up, but 2 blocks over, is that sewer, gas, electric? What is that? It goes between 5th Street and the bank?
Oak Street.
Oak Street. Is that ever gonna, it's been under
Trying to think what we're at here. You said
2
5th?
blocks this way.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oak Street.
Oh, yeah, no, we, that initially started with a water line replacement because we're repairing the,
And the gas leak.
and had it when the, Yeah, there was two gas situations. We hit one actually that was mismarked by the utility company. And then we've had some issues with specifically, and I will specifically Spire getting their locate companies to actually locate the gas lines where they're supposed to be. Then our contractor actually hit it as well. Oak Street we're replacing all the curb and gutter, all the sidewalks, and then doing a complete overlay of the entire street. It's a full reconstruction of the whole street. So it has been going on for quite some time because we had to get utilities taken care of. In the past, I believe we used to pave streets without doing a full, analyze the utilities and what they look like, as far as water lines and sewer lines. Now we've been replacing things rather than going through and pave a street, have a break, a year later, and then we got to fix it again. So we've been trying to get ahead of these things a little bit. But that right now the current schedule is for paving to be done by the end of November. But with this weather, I'm a little concerned about that. I do know asphalt plants are going to be open up later this year because of the bridge. So that's why we let the project as late as we did, just because I felt pretty confident that we were going to have that taken care of.
It'll be back to normal before Christmas.
Yeah, back to normal. I mean, it's going to be significantly better than it's been in the past, most likely 40 years. So new sidewalks, new curb and gutter, new access to Manuel Lutheran. They'll have actually an ADA ramp on their side, which is consistent with our ADA transition plan. Overall, the new drainage, we actually taken a lot of the water off the street. There's new pipes that went in, storm sewer pipes that went in the ground. There was some concern with water coming down Oak Street by the Bank of Washington, so we're hoping that would alleviate that as well. So, I mean, it was a full reconstruction. And I know our portion, as far as the Board of Public Works goes, was the water line replacement. And I know that was done early this year just to get out ahead of it. That's why it's kind of been tore up for quite some time, but we're working really hard to get that taken care of.
Was there any consideration on that street to try and make it any wider during this process? That just seems like to be one of the more narrow streets.
As far as when the construction happens, at the end of construction or during
I
construction?
mean, at the beginning. I mean, I know obviously it's too late now, but at the beginning when you were going to do that project, was there ever any consideration
To widen it itself?
to widen the street itself?
No, there's no right of way to widen it. Actually, the block here furthest to the south is the widest. There's parking, I believe, on both sides on that. But as you work to the block here between 4th and 3rd, there's no parking on either side, and there's just no right of way to do so. So no, there was no consideration. And I haven't, it's not a very heavily traveled street. Cedar Street, I know, was one that we did widen 18 inches, but with Borgia Grade School being there, I mean, that made sense. I will say that we've been getting some complaints and concerns. I guess complaints would be a way to say it, with Cedar Street when we did widen it that 18 inches of people driving fast. So anytime you widen the street, you have this counterbalance of people speeding, but when you don't widen it, then you have people, their windows get clipped. So
I just travel Oak quite a bit, and with parking on both sides and trying to get there, you can't get two cars through.
yeah, I mean, no, that was never brought to our attention as far as being a major concern. And I just would say it's not really designed to be like that. I mean, if there's a secondary access, which just is a gridded street, there are many other accesses, to downtown that are wider, maybe more user-friendly. So we could look at maybe going to, restricted parking, but that would be done after the fact. I'm not going to do that right now. But we didn't have any right-of-way to get 5-foot sidewalks in, so. Sorry, that was a long explanation, but I figured give you a heads up on what's going on. We did give them a contract extension because we actually are having the paving contractor complete our patch over on by the Bank of Franklin County over on 8th Street. So I know we replaced the water line there too. We were going to do that in-house, but we made a decision to have a paver come in and take care of that just to finish it off. So I did give them an extension to get that done as well. So we're trying to get these things done.
Just need some better weather. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there's anytime you're in November doing work, there's much higher risk. So
There's a lot of cold-looking guys out on the bridge this morning.
Man.
they are, like I said, we're piggybacking their schedule. So there's two projects going on in the region that there's one in New Haven, Maupin Street, and then the bridge that are going to keep the asphalt plant Pacific open longer. So I was trying to find that window just to piggyback on with them. So it'll get done.
Anything else on that? We have a McGuire iron bill to pay.
Yes.
Explain the final pay request, which is on their part, I suppose, $28,005. And the balance of the contract, is that the retainage?
No, this is a negotiated, price. Well, part of it was that just, it came in under bid. The final cost came in under bid, which is good. Part of it is a negotiated cost. We still don't have the grass completely done up at the site. There's a couple ruts that still need to be filled in, but the city's gonna be doing some work up there. We gotta put a concrete slab up there for a generator. We still gotta pull that temporary pole, so we're gonna be doing some damage up there. So what I did was, we negotiated the rest of it, the remaining funds to go to, paying off, and I'll do it in-house, the grass work, the dirt work.
So the 39.9 will be a credit to us?
Yes, yes.
I see, okay. That makes
So,
sense.
yes. And this was last year's project, so we're also trying to get it rolled out so that it doesn't linger too far into,
Yeah, so
into
now we
next
can
year.
close
Yeah,
this
so now we can close it out. This money, the remaining money will be rolled into this year's budget, and then we'll finish it up in the spring when we do our other work up there. We're gonna be making we'll be making some of our own ruts and everything else, so we're just gonna do it all at one time.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Bill approved. Software for metering system. Seems like we've talked about this before. What's
Yes,
the
we have.
latest?
Well, I just want to let everybody know, we have actually it's up and operating now. It has given us the ability to do in-depth leak detection for residents, is what we've always tried to get to. It actually gives us the opportunity for the system, once we find an address that looks like it has an issue, or we have an address that calls and says they think they have a leak, we can actually set up to receive emails, myself and Chad Alferman, my foreman, to receive emails anytime it goes over a certain threshold. Where before, we just got a random, and with our old system, we just got like 10 pages of random leak detections. We had really no way of tracking them, getting them information out. Reason why I wanted to bring this up today was to let you guys know where we're at, and it's a really nice system. It's user friendly, everything. It's just an updated system. But the reason why I wanted to talk to you guys about it is I would like to, hopefully if I can get the paper to put this in the paper too, I would like to start trying to gain email addresses from the residents. Because what I'd like to do is when we find a leak, right now we try to look up a phone number, we try to call them. I'd rather send them an email out of our office saying, we have detected a leak at your property, contact our office and we'll be more than happy to come help you find it, or whatever that might say. But I want to try, and so you might see down the road that somebody's requesting it. It may come out in the utility bills, just a request for, and it's not that we want to get into anybody's life. It's a way for us to assist some of the residents that have leaks that they don't know about.
And I personally think that that's a great idea. The only concern I have is that there's so much scam stuff going on the internet now. I'm worried about the reluctance of somebody to.
Well, and that's totally understandable. I mean, right now, we're already gaining some email addresses. When they come in and register, they'll give an email address, just so that they can be contacted. They can get if the city has their email address, their utility bills could actually be emailed to them too, where they wouldn't have to be mailed. So there's a more than just us having access to be able to let them know that we found a leak. So
Yeah, if
it's just,
something came on like their email that they were used to getting with a bill, for instance, then I think it would be probably better accepted than.
yeah.
I'm just
I
throwing.
mean, you know, you're actually moving in to the whole notion of paperless billing, which who of us doesn't have an account someplace where they're constantly saying, we'd like you to go paperless? We, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Granted, it's something we
Might be
haven't
a
done.
long ways
but
from that,
it's
but
just
at least you'd establish, it's
changed.
kind of like a
you
smart
know,
city.
and I don't, this was just a thought I just had, but I don't know if, like when you sign up for Code Red, if you're required to give an email address there anyway. I don't know that.
Yeah, just
But
the phone number.
one concept we could have is when you do sign up for Code Red is to have that in there as a, you know, once again, a tag-along little thing to say, hey, you can get your additional information from the city system provided you know, you want to, type thing, which would be another option. I just
I think on a
thought.
leak, at least I personally probably I don't check my email, especially a home email, very often. If I just get a text,
That would be a Code Red situation.
Yeah, and we could do, there's a lot of things we could do. It's just something we haven't talked about, and we've never really thought about it, and it's just, we're at that point now where we have the the technology to do that, to help the residents out. And
And this isn't just with the water, any of the billing from Public Works. I mean, even the building department, we're working on some new software to go, to go where we can, collect our applications and take payment online finally and things like that we would hope to roll out next year too. So overall, the city, we got to get caught up here, and that's,
and we're
Kevin's doing his job.
always trying to
get
move
that done.
forward. That's the key, is always moving forward. So we're at that point now. So.
And while we're talking about the leak detection, and just so I'm aware, that would be everything on the house side of the meter itself, correct?
Yes, it would just,
So-
it would be past the meter. Yeah.
So I get a lot of questions of why the city can't detect if there's a leak between the actual connection to the main and the meter. And the reason for that is we have no way to do so. There's not a way to quantify. If there is a pinhole leak in your service line, your line from the curb stop to the meter itself, we have no way to detect that because you can't quantify the loss of water. The only time that you can quantify that is when it's, comes to the
And it's
surface.
metered, yeah.
So just keep in mind, I get that question probably once a week, to be honest.
Watering systems show up on that? Or is it
Their irrigation. system?
Irrigation systems,
Irrigation.
yeah, they're
Anything,
metered.
anything past the meter.
Yeah, typically what you'll have, I mean, there's two different ways. You could go into the house, into the meter, and then come back out for irrigation, or they have their own meter. So you'll see meter pits
Yeah, yeah.
in the actual, and we are inspecting those, making sure that we get those taken care of. So I just want everybody to know that, though, that there is always a potential of a loss of water that there is no way we would ever be able to know until it surfaces.
And water will take its path of least resistance, so it may be,
Yeah,
it could
it
leak
could be a block away.
underground for years before that.
Which plays into the
bad enough.
situation
Well,
at Lake Washington.
there you go.
Well, I think notifying the customer, I know that the gas company, it's been a couple of years now, but one item of gas, it was a fireplace log or something, I turned it off. Within 2 or 3 weeks of that, the gas company had contacted me to say they saw a significant change in the house and wanted to make sure everything was okay. We're offering to come, and inspect, and I told them what I did, and they said, well, that's it, forget it. So, it's just that communication with the customer so they
Yep.
know what's going on.
It's important now. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. So, that was it
So-
about the new software.
That's it.
That was it.
Let's see, we already talked about Crestview, the old business, so
I was just gonna take it off the old business list, was all.
that's it.
Gonna remove it.
Any other discussion on any other matters? It's cold outside,
Yes, it is.
so now we can get into the freezing and
Yeah, a little early, a little
It'll be
early
a little
yet.
colder
A
than
little
this.
early yet for that.
thank
Yeah, it's
them.
not cold enough, and but, yeah. December, January, February, yeah, then we'll be, Christmas Day. It always
And
happens
so-
on Christmas Day. I mean,
But just to talk about that, so, we go through this every year, right? So it always comes up where it's the old or the brittle or the compromised areas that are gonna break and leak, and then we figure, okay, we got that taken care of. But I suppose, even on the same block, if you have a leak and you fix that section, it doesn't mean that further down the block,
We're always, with this situation, we're always gonna be reactive, I'm afraid.
right, because you don't know.
You just can't, I mean, unless we had the funds to replace every old water line, we're always gonna be reactive. We just have no choice but.
Just the opposite of the sewer. The sewers, we can slip line and get ahead of the game.
Not all of them.
Not-
Yeah, you're right, not all of them,
Not all of them, no.
not all of them.
Well, I mean, Kevin's right, reactive, I mean, when a break happens, you gotta react to it. But there's two examples, once again, this year, where Oak Street and 8th Street, where we were proactive, there was a leak, and rather than continue to keep patching and putting things together, let's just fix it. And obviously, that costs money, obviously, it takes time, obviously, people on Oak Street have to deal with that for, going on, 4 or 5 months now to get that taken care of. But we're doing better, I can tell you that, as far as getting in there and identifying which streets we're gonna pave and then inspecting those. We could pave a street tomorrow, and there could be a break, the next day. I would have no way to know that.
Yeah.
It could be done on a.
We've
on a-
had that.
We've seen that.
Right.
And what we
it's-
do too
it's
in
risky.
our office is we keep track of the breaks on a line. So if we get to where we have 4 or 5 breaks on that line, then we'll look at replacing that line. Most of them are 2 and 4 inch lines, And we really hit hard on the 2 and 4 inch lines anyway, because when we put it as a new 6-inch line in, we can add a fire hydrant to it, which then helps fire protection for areas that doesn't have it. So we do keep track of where the breaks are at and how many we've had on the line. That's like 8th Street. That was an 8-inch line, but we had 4 breaks in the same year there. So it was time to change that one. So we just put a new 8-inch line in. But, you know, so we do try to approach the issues where they're at. But like downtown, we could have 3 breaks this week and nothing we could do about it. So that's the bad part.
Yeah.
You know, so I got a great group of guys though. They don't mind coming out in the middle of the night. They'll do what they have to do and get it done. So
Get her done, get it fixed.
yes.
Move on.
I would, just one more thing too, when we do get a water main break, one thing that we've been trying to do is when we patch that, rather than let that go through wintertime in gravel, we've been requiring our guys to put cold patch in to get us through winter, so cold patch asphalt. So it is rough on those patches, but you don't get the rock materials spread all over the road and potholes and things of that nature.
always
So
sticking out.
we've upped that a little bit to just try to get a better driving surface when it's taken care of through winter time until we can come back through and hot patch.
And we've been doing that for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, so just,
2 years.
Makes a difference.
it's just people are, man, that asphalt patch was terrible. Well, that's because it's temporary, so we get that quite a bit too, but.
But it's, yeah. Which is some of the reason why when you look at our especially water main breaks, because they're so hard, when we do that, it allows that patch to get packed even tighter and tighter. In the old days, what we do is we'd have a water main break the next day, we'd come and pave it, and then it would settle. And you'd have that, it would sink a ½ inch, an inch, whatever, and it always looked like we didn't know what we was doing when it wasn't that. It just, so now we actually let it actually go through its process a little bit longer and a little bit better, so.
Do you get a lot of public comments on that? That, my gosh, you repaired the street and there's bumps all over the place, people might think that it's the final patch and.
Well, I don't know about a lot. I mean, we probably get two a month, maybe. I mean, just round numbers. And you just got to explain to people
Yeah.
what we're doing that we haven't done in the past. I think it's just a educational thing. We're just telling them, hey, this is what we're doing to alleviate that, to make it better than it was before. I know since we do pave in-house now that it takes time, because we usually do about 3 or 4 passes through April to November, essentially, with our own street department guys, so that takes time. It is a manpower issue. We don't get on them. If you have a water main break, it may take you a month to 2 to get it hot batch back in or smooth, but that's the process that we have right now. So
Sure.
I think overall, when you're getting 1, 2 a month, I don't think that's a
not bad.
problem per se. So.
It's less than the complaints that we used to get when we just had rock in them. Let's put it that
Oh,
way.
I suspect, yeah.
Well, rock situation, I mean, you could have in the middle of January, you could get 2 inches of rain, and all of a sudden now you got potholes, then you get a tire popped, you get a wheel bent, you get this, you get an insurance claim. It's taking up Kevin's time, taking up my time to do, it just doesn't make any sense. Just, put the hot mix in, just, to hold that material in the trench and move on. So it just makes sense.
Yep.
Anything else? Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 11th. We'll all be there,
Be there.
I think. Yeah, I'll be here. We'll be here. Motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
Have a good day. Have a good week.
Hey, John.
Hello, Monty. Kevin. Oh, that feels bad.
This week, yeah, I usually cover the county.